All right, just waiting for a signal from the Bat Cave, as is tradition. And we will start this party off. And come on, YouTube. There we go. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to another fabulous showcase of the Jedi Academy, the show where we hang out with you wonderful and amazing folks, as we always do here at RSG, and interact with you guys. And this is a Q&A show. For 2 hours straight, we have content creators come on, including myself, and we hang out with you awesome folks. And we're here to answer your questions about Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. And it's pretty simple. It's easy. It's not hard to figure out how this works. If you have a question, all you need to do is put your question into the chat. Make sure you put the word question and then space, and then whatever comment or question you want to ask the panel, and we will get that scooped up. The reason I have you use that is a specific thing. One, YouTube chat has been a little wonky, and two, I use Nightbot as a filtering tool. We use a filtering word, and it just helps me identify your questions better, and the word question is the easiest way to do it. So question, space, and then what you want to ask, and we will get you squared away. Joining me, our first panelist here. I'm sure more will come as things go along in the day. Al the Sandfly from the best Sandfly beach in the galaxy.
Hey Ranger, how you doing? I'm super excited. Yeah, it's good to be back. You know, I was ill for a couple of weeks and then was on holiday for 10 days during Conquest, which was great to be able to sit in the sun and just do all the battles.
Yeah.
But yeah, also good to be back streaming and good to be back. 3v3 is great. So good to see everyone.
Yeah, 3v3 is what it is. I mean, I've always done really well in 3v3. Record wise, even now I'm doing quite well. But I just, I mean, I'm used to it. I think I've noticed with a lot of people, because I don't know how your matches have gone, Aldi. Well, I know how some of yours are gone just because I get the J Center reports and stuff. But most people are, I think, and this is my theory. Back in the day, most people didn't do 3v3. They just were like, when GAC was, before it is the format it is now, and people didn't really give two shits about 3v3. Now, someone like myself and some other content creators like you and others, we've done 3v3. We've seen a lot of the teams already. We're a little rusty, but I mean, there's still a lot of the same stuff that we saw previously. There's been some new additions and some things have changed, but for the most part, we have a pretty damn good idea of like what we're doing. I think what I'm noticing, and I'm in the top 500, people, one, have just not done 3v3. There's more people that are actually participating in 3v3 because, again, crystals are involved, but they are not putting down anything on defense, dude. I don't know how yours has been. I faced nothing. Now, I put a lot on defense because I'm quite comfortable with counters and what I'm using. But yeah, it's been strange to see people with more GP than me and stuff terrified to put GLs down. It's been crazy, dude. I know it's an efficiency fight, but I mean, when you're leaving those kind of teams open, I'm like, I'll take the undersized scores as much as I can here and there. You don't get as much as you would say for, 5v5 when you undersize, but it's been different. I mean, what's your experience? What have you been seeing in 3v3 so far?
It's been a real mixed bag. It's been like a total shuffle. I've picked up potentially 2 wins because one opponent never even set anyone last round, so there was just nothing. So that was an auto 21-21, which was bizarre. I had another opponent who would have won had he attacked. Well, I don't know. Well, he certainly had enough to maybe clear me, but just never attacked. So I'm picking up the odd win. And then there's been 1 or 2 players that have been very good that have actually, had. So I think I like 3v3s because it is like a shuffling of the deck. There's different mechanics in there. It's interesting. And certainly you always get down to those last 12 or 13 or 14th or 15th team. And there's a weird mechanic there. You're always seeing stuff you never saw before. You're always having to use counters you've never used before. So it's quite nice. I think it's still bedding itself in. I know about a lot of us maybe aren't putting GLs on defense because we kind of want to clear the board. We're comfortable where the ships are. So yeah, let's just get through the people. Let's not make any silly mistake. Let's not get, especially there are 1 or 2 teams out there, certainly Starkiller, Ray as well, sometimes are really sticking people so that they're almost getting stuck in a single team. So you want to kind of enough firepower to get through that. So and there's no or very little information or history on. Thank you, Gom. On
I just saw that.
there's very little history.
Yeah,
There's
you have to
very
go
li-
back before.
so
Yeah, there's not a lot of history, and then this is where the experience comes in. If you've done plenty of 3v3, then you're pretty comfortable, and you're able to adapt pretty quickly to what's being on the board. I
But
mean,
you've
I'm
got
seeing,
all
yeah,
new Omicrons. We've got the FOTP Omicron. I'm
right,
sure we'll talk about all these things. But all these new little things that have come in since the last time we did it, all of that history is, yeah, just so worthless almost. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. I'm enjoying it. It's good fun. It's a good little scrap. It's more like if 5v5 is the grand arena, the Super Bowl, 3v3 is like the fight in the parking lot afterwards. It's like, not that there is a fight in the car, but it is like, it's very much like that street ball or whatever. It's a grittier game, more fun, lots of one single dodge, one single miss, and
right.
suddenly the whole thing falls apart. So there's lots of things going on, which is pretty cool.
Speaking of pretty cool, we got South Kakalaki's finest. They're good old Maurice hanging out with us. He's apparently the second coming of Aldous Sandfly.
Hello, everybody. That's terrible. I'm sorry. That's really bad.
Yeah, he's not even British.
All my accents are the same.
Yeah, you're like Finn.
Yeah.
Finn does one accent, the Indian accent, for all his accents. How are you?
Guys.
How are you doing this morning, Gom?
No, pretty good. No complaints.
How is 3v3 going for you, buddy? We've been talking about it for the first few minutes here. So, how's your 3v3 going? Remembering everything you had done previously?
No. No, but that's why I'm just placing everything on defense, right? Like I don't know. I've been playing differently, I guess. I've been putting 4, maybe 5 GLs on defense, just because I don't remember, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to remember how to play or get any better at the game if we just puss out and keep everything, right? So I might take some losses, some punches in the face this round, but long term, I think I'm learning much quicker by forcing myself to remember how to beat teams. And people are typically just, well, I don't know how to beat. I don't really have anything for this, so I'm just taking the GL against it. Like I need to learn how to beat the Gasses, the DRs, these Inquisitors, all these new teams that people are placing. I just need to learn how to beat them with non-GLs.
Yeah, I mean, some of this stuff, most of it's still counters that I've used since 3v3 came out, right? There's just teams that you're just going to be like, yeah, I know what to use here, and I'm using 3 GLs and Star Killer on defense. I'm keeping 3 GLs. But pretty much everything else, I put a crazy defense down. It's not like I'm putting, bullshit down. I'm putting a crazy defense down, but I think you just got to get comfortable with the counters. For me, it's like I see a team like, okay, I can either use this or this, or I can use this here and this here. One thing is Wampa versus Darth Revan. I'm just like, yeah, that's a free. If the Malik's not there, which I'm seeing a lot of Darth Revans that are not having Malik, which, Malik's a fantastic offense piece in 3v3, so I get it. But that's just Wampa food, So
I had a glorious this morning. I wamped a C.
They don't have Malik. That's a legit thing, dude.
It takes a while to ramp up, but to open with a 68 banners on a Wampa against a Galactic Legend, just brilliant, so it's still fun. The Wampa is one of the greatest things.
It's so good. There's just so much you can use it against. And for me, typically it's like, Darth Revan, pain in the ass team, let me just get 68 right off the bat, because you're going to get 68 on that team with Malik's. You can't use a Malik's here, but then go get free max banners somewhere else, because he will eat something alive. He is absolutely a beast in 3v3. Now, I've been talking about this. Most of my opponents are not placing any GLs or anything, so they're doing the opposite of what you and me are kind of doing. Are you been seeing that from your opponents, where they're just like, I'm going to keep all my GLs?
I think one person did, but for the most part, people are putting down 2 that I'm fighting.
Okay.
Because, I'm fighting, I'm in the top 50, right? Fringe top 50. So everyone has such deep rosters.
Yeah.
And again, my previous comment is coming from the perspective of, going for the top 50. Now, if you're in a lower GP, you guys don't have the depth that we do up here, right? Like I'm one of the small guys at 9.5, but like my opponent today is 10.7. The one before is about 11. Like they have so much depth where they can afford to put, a couple GLs, maybe 3 down, and then just pick something apart because they have so much depth.
Right.
Which is a little different. Like honestly, towards the top, Kyber 1, I'm in the camp that we need more defenses. We need way more defenses in Kyber 1.
Yeah.
Like there's just people have too much depth. Like even if I do a terrible job and I clear the board inefficiently and lost maybe 4 or 5 times, I still have a handful of relic characters left. And that's just for me, right? Because Kyber 1 is supposed to be the very top, the very tip top of the mountain. So we need more defenses, I think, but I'm sure that's not a very popular opinion.
Well, no, you're right, because I mean, I'm top 500 Kyber 1, right? And I do my matches. I have teams left over still, and I'm placing a lot of crazy stuff on defense. But even for offense, I still have teams left over. Like I think I had the Geonosians. I had quite a few teams left over yesterday that I did not use yesterday. I mean, it did help that I one-shot the board minus a cleanup on Iden. But other than that, I mean, you're right. We could get away with a couple more teams on defense. And
well, let me perhaps we need another tier. Maybe we need a higher tier, right? That could be. I guess it'd essentially be the same thing because Kyber 1 would become that tier and Kyber people would fall and not like it. But it's getting to the point, we're getting Grand Inquisitor, so that's going to be,
Malgus
especially in
coming.
3s. Huh? Malgus. So, I mean, right there, you've got an extra Sith Empire team and you have technically an extra Inquisitor team for 3s anyway, because you have 6. So, they're just coming and who knows what else is coming. We've got that new droid that looks really cool.
Sortie, yeah.
And that's a team within itself. I don't know exactly how good that team is yet, but I mean that's a team. So we're just keep getting all these B tier teams. All these Omicrons essentially turn older teams into B plus A minus teams. So we're getting a lot of good teams. So like you can't really afford to put down your Finn vets anymore, right?
No.
Like like kind of the giveaway teams, that we all used to place, kind of like the one freebie, the one really bad team, like your Ewoks or something like that. So here comes the train, so I'll mute.
That's fine.
I think Gone does a point. I don't think it's much sort of we need 2 more teams now. I think we need a mechanic in the game that lets everybody sort of understand as we get more and more characters, how many are going to end up in defense. And I think there almost needs to be a calculation kind of developed by CG and sort of said, right, as because he has a point. I mean, we talked very at the start how 3v3 you only have say 45 characters on defense, whereas 5v5 is 55, I think. So
right.
you're automatically 10 characters less. So automatically you have more for offense than you had before. So I think he has a point, but I'd prefer that they didn't go with these big jumps very rarely. I wish it'd be like, right, okay, oh, by the way, tell us now that in a month's time they're going to put 1 more in this division or 1 more here, and give everybody a kind of a calendar what it might look like would be my preference.
Yeah, slow increments. I'm always a fan of that. Slowly introduce things here, little jumps here and there instead of one big jump. I'm cool with that. Speaking of cool with that, we got Calvin. Awesome here with us today. What's going on, Big C?
Not a whole lot. How's it going, guys?
Just living the dream, talking some 3v3, man. How's your 3v3 going? I know you went undefeated the first round. How's the first 2 rounds looking so far?
First round was really, really good. Also, how do I sound audio-wise? I'm using a new pair of headphones.
A little clanky.
Okay, yeah, it's a little weird on my end.
Okay,
too.
now it's working. Whatever you just did, whatever tapped it or moved it or whatever, it sounds fine now.
Okay, not really sure what that is. Anyways, the first week went.
Yeah, now it's going a little
back.
bit. Yeah, it went back. It's I wonder what that is.
I'll have to mess with the settings. I can turn this off for a second.
Yeah.
Anyways, so the first one went really stinking well. The first week, basically won via ships against some really monstrous accounts. This week was a lot harder. My first opponent was one of those 11 million top 40 rosters in the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
So he did really well against us. He only dropped a battle in ships, and he only dropped 1, so we weren't safe there. And then today I'm up against Emo Kid Skills, which I don't think anyone here knows him, but he's probably my longest in-game friend, so that'll be a fun one.
All right, nice. Okay, cool. Very nice. All right, so we see. Oh, what Dodge the Dodger? There he is. Has been a member for 23 months. Re-upped his membership on YouTube. It says apparently it's been 13 months at tier 3. I'll take it. Yeah, we'll take it. Oh, 23 months. There you go. I'm saying. What it says 23 months and you're saying 13. Boo boo. But it's all good. Thank you, Dodge, for all your support. All right, let's get to some questions. You guys ready? They
100% ready.
They sound enthused. All right, that's
100% ready.
The kind of energy we need on the Jedi Academy. Of course, it is early Monday for a lot of us, or Saturday for a lot of us, and then for Aldous, it's late as he is drinking said cocktails. All right, let's start here. Let me get to today. The engineer first question says, did Scribe really quit his latest video? He uninstalled the game. I have not seen that. Princess Scribbles quit. Is this true? I didn't get any news on this. Of course, I was slammed yesterday. I wasn't really much in the forums or anything like that. Is this? Did this happen? Anybody confirm this?
I cannot.
I don't know. I know he was moving back to the UK. As far as was he not moving back home and things like that? So I know he was going through a lot of personal changes, or not personal, but batch just moving. So I don't know though.
Yeah, I know he's recently been sick. Yeah, I don't want Princess Scribbles to quit. I mean, I love Scribe, man. He's, I've known him for a while, and he's a good dude, and try to watch him. And I've been hanging out with him on the stream once in a while when I can. So yeah, that would suck. Yeah. Oh, he says Ronan says it was a joke. He did a guide for the new Galactic Challenge. Just uninstalled the game. Okay. Yeah. Did Smudge quit? That's the real question. Yes. That's the real star of that show, Smudge. So, all right. So it was just a joke. Okay, cool. Someone asked that. I was like, is that it? Damn. They got me. I was in there going, what? All right. Dodge. Speaking of aforementioned member. Needs some help with his roster, guys. He's asking us a roster, a quick look at his roster and suggestions. We got the folks to look at it, so he's got his ally code in there.
Yep, I've checked out. So this is free mustache rides.
That's Spaceballs the Guild. He says, currently working towards Star Killer and slowly farming the Inquisitors. I just got GML in his ultimate a few days ago, and I'm not sure where I should focus after Star Killer. Well, we can all look at it and kind of give you a sense of what we think. So he's getting Star Killer, then that's going to add on his JML, Kenobi, and SLKR. So he's got those three as his GLs. I'm looking at his ships, because I always go to ships now. He does have Executor, which kind of leads me towards C. Starkiller C? Because he's already got some of the pieces there if he's done Executor. Is his next farm?
He's got a level 1 4-star Fennec Shand, who I think with her kit, she's always going to be relevant in some way. So maybe it's not a full direction towards, I agree with Ranger, but I wouldn't necessarily sleep on Fennec Shand.
He's got a farmer stars. It's going to take a minute.
Yeah, just as I'm looking at her quite jealously now because I haven't geared her up yet.
She's relics, so good, man.
She is so good, and she's working well. So,
well, as a star, you can continue getting the stars on Fennec. I think finishing Grief to Relic. I'm looking at your bounty hunters might be a play too. Zam as well. And I don't see. Oh, there's the Mando. He's actually lower gear. I mean, run out those Grief and Mando on a bounty hunter team in 3s with Bosk is fantastic. We know what they are with the Lord Schmader counter with Fennec. That's not a bad call for bounty hunters. I kind of like C here. I mean, the other two options, Ray, Lord Schmader, I kind of like C here. Unless he wants to round out some teams, which you guys are looking through the roster if you see any teams. I looked at bounty hunters. I haven't really looked at anything else. How's his troopers looking? I love me some Imperial troopers. Could work on Imperial troopers. I mean, you have Relic Apiet and nothing else. They're too good of a team, man. Oh god, they're so good.
Admiral Thrawn is always going to be. I mean, he's still G12. Thrawn's always relevant. I'm just looking at the kind of characters that I do think at the moment now we're in 3v3, and we might, and by the time we get back into 5v5s, we might be playing a totally different game. So what we think is good today might not be as good as it is once people like Malgus and the Grand Inquisitor come to the game. Therefore, I always look at maybe one or two little utility characters like a Thrawn, like a Fennec Shan. She's not utility, but she's always going to be good. I think those are good places to look at. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, looking at
I like troopers.
Yeah, troopers are so good. I mean,
that is one of like the lowest cost, highest value teams. You can knock that out pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's really a fantastic team and groups of characters that you can get that are just so bloody good. I mean, Iden, we know what she does. We know what the rest of the troopers can do against multiple teams. Although their dynamic for them is going to change a little bit once Malgus comes into the game, because troopers ain't beating that. Just no way.
My question about troopers is, what team that has come out in the last 6 to 8 months can troopers beat? Troopers can beat all the old teams. Like, troopers can't really beat anything new. So I'm a little bit weary that the troopers are going to kind of fade out.
You think they're going to fade out a little bit?
Unless you have Versio. Now, Dark Trooper and Piet are good, of course, but I mean, is there really anything new that they could beat? They could beat
as long
DR.
as you're faster, yeah.
Yeah.
They can still beat Dash. They can beat the Kyle Katarn teams.
They can beat Kyle Katarn teams?
They're faster.
Easy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even have to be faster. You just taking Shore. They open up on him. Piet gets way more turn meter than they're going to get, and you win.
The problem is Kyle
really
Katarn just
rating.
one-shots my Shore Trooper. Right? So, I mean, like, that's the problem I'm having with it. Or an R8 Kyle Katarn just comes in and destroys Shore Trooper. I'm just like, ugh, maybe I need to relegate my Shore Trooper. Maybe, I don't know, but I'll give it a try in X5s. I've been staying away from that because it happened one time and I haven't tried since.
Yeah, there's
Kyle
sometimes
Katarn just came in and wrecked my Shore, and I was like, all right, that's it.
Sometimes you get that just crazy RNG, man. But I mean, for the most part, there's still, and besides, there's still a lot of old stuff that's still on the board that you can use troopers on for really crazy good banners. I still like the troopers a lot. I mean, then Iden is Iden, for Christ's sake. She's so good on offense.
Yeah, Versio's good. Yeah, the Versio team is really good.
Yeah, it's super dope. I still love bounty hunters. That was my suggestion. I just too many combinations. They're just so goddamn good. I've never had more fun the last couple months playing Iden, kicking the shit out of every Lord Vader I see. I mean, it's just been a fun team to use. And you know, of course, their ships with the Executor, and getting that team up and running with all the ships is really good. But I mean, looking at your roster, Dodge, I mean, if you're gonna get Starkiller, great, that's fine. You can go right into C, or you know, we always say have a good, well-rounded roster. You can work on some of these teams, really whatever you want to work on. We always say too, like, it's your roster, do what you want to play. I mean, work on what you want to play in the game with. I mean, if you really love like Geonosians, and that's just one of your favorite teams, and you want to really get them up and running and do more with them, go for it, man. There's no wrong answer, dude. As long as you're focusing on something and rounding it out. Some things you get more value than others, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's a game. You got to enjoy it. You know, we just give you suggestions on what we think, looking at your roster, might give you the most bang for your buck, but you have to take the enjoyability factor in as part of this as well. So I like troopers, I like bounty hunters, I like C. I mean, with Executor already done, you might as well go get C. Rey's really good, and Lord Vader's really good, but Lord Vader's relics are so stupid. Rey's a little bit easier, but a little bit more card text involved with that team and stuff. But it is a lower.
C just has so much overlap. Like, and if you do C, you're gonna pretty much you're just gonna need dark for troopers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a win-win there.
Yeah. Anything else you guys are seeing here that you might want to suggest? I mean, I saw Separatists could use some love, but I mean, the troopers, the bounty hunters, the Separatists just need relics, like the Geos. Like, definitely Geo, Brute Alpha, Spy, Sunfac, Soldier are always good ones, mainly because GBA is the leader, and the other three have ships, and that really does help your Malevolence fleet out. That's not a bad call, right? So you could work on Separatists. I know your Rebel Fighter team is not fully up and running. That'll team eventually you'll want to work on.
I wouldn't worry about Rebel Fighters.
Yeah, they've got the yeah. It's much later. It's much later when you've got a lot of the bigger stuff done. But I mean, If you let's say he goes C next, I kind of lean Rey and Lord Vader last. I mean, what do you guys think on like GL?
That's my ranking. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I would do C. I don't remember the exact requirements off the top of my head, but if you want to go Star Killer, you're going to need a team for him. So whichever GL, because Star Killer comes with additional requirements too. A lot of people do Visas.
Yeah.
I don't like Visas, but she at this point in the game is probably the best option unless you want to use like CLS or JTR.
I've used Stick Ray in that team, and god dang, that she hits freaking hard, dude. I actually had holds in 5v5 with her before I got my Visas relic. I couldn't believe
Fulcrum's really good there, I guess. If
Fulcrum's
you have Fulcrum,
good.
you can use.
I mean,
I don't have Fulcrum, but
I mean, she's a good choice. And then the tank part of it, like the Jedi, Barriss is always a nice option. Kenobi's, both of them. Old Ben's actually really good in that team. So is General Kenobi. Mace works really well in that team as that Jedi requirement. And Barriss makes the team pretty nasty. I've seen different Jedi in that slot, and they all seem to do pretty decently. But yeah, Visas, if you don't have it, you can go Stick Ray. And under that, with the bump she gets from Star Killer, and so does Fulcrum. So those are all options you can do for that team. But you're absolutely right. Oh, wait, we got a donation.
Now you see that evil will always triumph.
Sure.
Because good is dumb.
That's right, Lord Helmet. Good is dumb. RC Dodge says this question: what about Tarkin up, Bane, IG Boss, First Order Officer to Relic 7 first? I'm sorry, taking Bane, IG Boss, First Order Officer to Relic 7 first. I mean, you can. You're talking mainly for ships here, for your ship stuff, dude. I mean,
if you're Echelon 7-star, then yeah, maybe take First Order Officer. I probably wouldn't take him up until you get that ship done.
Let me look. Where's his echelon? It is 7 stars. I mean, you could take him. Yeah, take him to Relic 7 wouldn't be a bad play. He could do that, absolutely. And what were the other ones?
I wouldn't do Cad Bane IG.
No.
I think that the Executor, if it's getting mirrored and you get it right, you don't hit the wrong button like I do occasionally. It pretty much works. It pretty much works even R8 P versus R9 P, and those don't make too much difference. Maybe Bosk is a possible. Bosk R7, obviously he needs to go eventually. First Order Officer is a possible, like you say, for the Executor, but probably not Bane and IG.
Yeah, I agree, Aldous. I just got my boss at Relic 9. Not only is the character ridiculous at Relic 9, but the ship is really ridiculous. And then, yeah, First Order Officer, Relic 7. I don't think you need to go higher than Relic 7 on that ship, right? I mean, maybe Relic 8.
I haven't found. I'm fighting all R8, 9 captains, and at my echelon is surviving with R7 First Order Officer. At least surviving that initial onslaught.
Right.
That's all he has to do, right? Just survive for just a minute. He lets you get all your moves off, and then he can die, which he will die.
Yeah.
Probably First Order Officer has zero utility, like in the game. Like if you're using First Order Officer like as a ground unit, basically what you do with him is you pass the turn one time and then he dies.
Mm-hmm.
And R7 isn't really going to help him too much there. So
no,
you don't really get much value out of that except the Executor counter, which is pretty valuable. But at least Bosk, IG have a little bit of utility in the game. Cad Bane is pretty worthless. So
it's unfortunate.
Something to consider.
It's unfortunate. So hopefully that helps you out, Dodge. And answer some of your questions there, buddy. So it gives you some ideas and some options of what you can do. And you've got the experts here. Don't listen to me. Take it from those guys. They know what they're doing. All right, let's get to some more questions. Thank you, Dodge, for all your support, buddy. I love you. Nathan H says, how do you mod your JMK squad? It's pretty straightforward. I don't think there's not mystery to this one, panel.
And me and Ranger, we went over this last week. It's one of like the most forgiving teams too. Like they take the 3 basic stats in the game, and I would even wager like don't give them your best mods just because they work so well. Like their kit carries them pretty hardcore.
It really does. The only thing that we discussed was the different way people are using Ahsoka. Some have got speed less off of her and gone more health.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. But I mean, Snips is damage, Kenobi's tank, so there's pretty straightforward how you're going to mod him. And then JMK, is as much speed as you can get on him, just so he gets the ultimate faster. But I mean, usually the 5th on that team. Well, in Squad Arena or in GAC, I've seen Padme. She's really nice. I've also seen Echo, but people mainly using Padme because if they've got their Bad Batch. If you don't have your Bad Batch up and you've got Echo, he's a great addition to that team because of everything he does. But I mainly see Padmes or I'll see a Jedi Anakin if they don't have Qui-Gon. But I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, is there any strange modding?
The only like you guys mentioned Cat, it's one or the other, and I don't think there's a you can make a case for fast or healthy. I think there's a case for both. The only thing, if you guys still have like a lower relic Mace, you want to make sure that he is the least healthy on the team with his boosts, because that's a low, like making sure Mace assists every time for that ability block is really disruptive for a couple of the counters. The people are using Kylo and C to counter your Kenobi. If you have a very, I don't want to say weak, but if Mace is the lowest health and protection on the team and he assists, that can cause some problems. But if somebody's going to mirror it or use a different counter, it's awful, right? So it all depends. I think having Mace ready to deploy at the lowest health and protection is useful, but you don't want to use them every time.
No.
Only against very specific opponents that use C. C especially. They get in there and they ability block Thrawn, they ability block armor. It can really mess up that counter, or at least delay it a turn, which can get you the win, get you the hold. So
yeah, for Mace, I did health sets, but I went primaries was offense, was on the primaries.
Yeah.
I didn't go protection or health on him for that exact reason.
For those of you guys that have an R3, it's a shoe-in. That doesn't really take any work at all. But for those like me that got excited and immediately took him to R7, it's a little more difficult now. So.
Like, if I only use 5 mods, this might work.
You joke, but we did that in TW one time.
I bet you did. I've seen it happen, brother. I mean, that goes without saying. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. If you need to see any modding stuff, I always say you can check out my GG page or GOMS or especially Calvis and Aldis. All right, I was shaking his head no. Okay, don't check out Aldis. But the rest of us have some knowledge on this stuff. So, what else are any 3 questions? Speaking of Geo counters, what's the point of calling them Galactic Legends other than for marketing if so many non-Geo teams can beat them?
They have a very specific buff called Galactic Legend that adds a bunch of bonuses per relic level. That seems like they all start with like 390 speed or something.
Yeah.
Those are pretty big determining factors that separate them from the rest of the characters.
Yeah. And even some of the counters are not guaranteed that are non-GL counters. Trust me. I mean, GLs are still, they deserve the title GL. I mean, they're OP characters for a reason. And if
they're the team to beat, like if you're trying to impress someone saying that you beat, I'll just go old school, Rey with OG Vader, like that's impressive. If you were to say that phrase around, everyone would call you an idiot. Like, guys, I managed to beat OG Vader with Rey, and like, yeah, of course you did. You had the better character.
Right.
But anyways.
No, that's a good point. I mean, there's still, some of them are quite ridiculous. And, they just give you a lot of flexibility on offense and defense. Now, Lord Vader's been underperforming, but the other ones are still really, really goddamn good.
Well, let's be real. 3 Star Killer's a GL too.
Yes, he is.
Let's be real. I learned that firsthand, trying to take him down without really anything the other night.
What did you try to use?
You and everyone else got
everything. I used. We came up with a Finnick team that should have worked. But somehow it didn't. Then I gotta go back and look. And then there was a then we deployed Versio to try just to kill Palpatine. He was in the yellow, but then unfortunately Mara Jade had 100% turn meter and went before Versio.
Oh no!
So do keep in mind if you're trying to clean up something with Versio, make sure nobody has 100% turn meter, because then it comes down to which character has the highest base speed. And Mara had 120 more speed than my Versio did, and I got destroyed. I got my feelings hurt. We did a lot of pouting on that stream.
Yeah,
we lost that one.
Yeah, I treat Starkiller like a GL. You have to.
Yeah.
Because you'll get.
It's a really interesting question. I think it is. It comes back to that point where, for no apparent reason, maybe what is in February, they started to give a hierarchy and like, okay, GL plus a conquest is big. And I think that's just an out of, the GLs are just they are the best 6 characters in the game. And, give me an option of Lord Vader, which I don't have, and anyone else, I'd take Lord Vader. it is a marketing term. I don't know how relevant it is today, but I think the game's in a good place. What we do want is the off GL counters to thing, so it's not, I'm not complaining about it because it's a good thing. It's a good thing to have these things, but it is but it does constantly change the value of them, or, whether people should go for Lord Vader in today's climate or wait, because, you might end up with better utility coming out of Darth Malgus or the Grand Inquisitors and things like that. So it's an interesting point.
It is. I mean, Lord Vader on offense is fantastic. Lord Vader on defense, you have to have specific modding and you have to have specific characters and to really, make that team work. Like I use, was it Vader, Maul, and Royal Guard? I've actually had quite a few holes with that team on defense because, Maul does his thing there. And Iden can't be as effective. However, in fives, pretty much, the counters, we had to talk about this. The counters require specific badass mods and relic levels and certain stats to be at a certain point. Like, if you go in with Fennec versus a Lord Vader and she's relic 3, she ain't doing shit. I mean, you might get some RNG and she survives, but most likely you're going to get destroyed. Now, relic 8 Fennec with 12,000 offense is where you want to be at, and she will eat that team alive. And you need the mods to do that. A lot of the counters, and even then the counters are still not guaranteed. I mean, Jedi Luke against SLKR is still a thing, but you better have the offense and the mods and stuff on those characters. Not just him, but the other characters you're using with Basla and Old Ben and Jedi Knight Revan and stuff like that, or you're gonna it's not gonna work. And even if you do have it, it still cannot go your way. One bad RNG. So the non counters, they're not they can work, but they're not always consistent. So
I think sometimes people get a little bit led by, incredible people like Gom, like you said, he took his mace to R7. So we're not talking general people's relic levels on these counters. We're talking R7s, R8s, R9s. Yeah. We're talking what Arnold has, and Arnold does it once with his R9 Bosk, or Van Seal does it a few times with insane bounty hunter modding and things. It doesn't necessarily represent the tools that everybody has.
Right.
So they aren't
not even close.
They aren't 100%. They are way lower than that. So I think that there is a chance sometimes people watching some of these incredible content creators there's many more out there. Obviously here, but I think people sometimes get a skewed impression about just how successful these are. And just the level of studying that might have gone on before the stream into the exact speeds, the exact modding of the other team, the exact compositions. Yeah, it's complicated.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, when I watch Clayton and Loki's do their GACs, they're top 50, right? Gom, I think you're top 50. That's a different world even than where I'm at in the top 500. Calvin, you're what, top 100?
I was top 500. I think I still am. I can't remember.
Yeah. So, I mean, it does change even for just being in the top 500, but you start getting that top, I'd say 200, especially top 100, totally different game than, even lower levels of Kyber 1. So, I mean, you've got to have everything tip top, mods, everything, or you're not going to have a chance against these teams. You're going to get blitzed, and there's nothing you can do about it. So, but yeah, when you look at counters, guys, really, before you commit to it, really look at like, what are they using? What are the relic levels? What are the stats that they're hitting to beat these teams? And then look at what you got, and then make a plan on like, okay, if I want Fennec to be a Lord Vader counter, what do I need for that team to be at so I can beat it? And then the different scenarios of the different Vader teams. So you gotta do a little homework on that. And really
Fennec's a good character, but you also have to think like, do I want to invest in this team, and how long until somebody figures out how to stop Fennec, which we've already done, right? If you place Lord Vader, Ordo, Vader, Maul, Royal Guard down, good luck, right? Good luck. That's a really tough team to beat.
Yeah, you have to go with BAM on that then.
Yeah, but really easy to beat with other teams. Like, so like if you're investing in these characters, you really want to make sure there's some lasting power. I've done that myself, where I don't remember what it was. I think many moons ago, maybe it was like Magna Trooper to Gear 12 or something to counter Lord like Treya. Like if you invest in kind of an obscure character to beat something, is it easily, like, can the defensive team switch a character to and easily stop it? Then all of a sudden you have, and Fennec is an example. Fennec's a great character. Just you got to be careful. like Aldous said, you see it on Arnold's stream, you see it on Loki's stream. Like you see all these guys doing it. And these characters are among the best versions of that character in the entire game that you're seeing. So do be very, very careful. It's a big investment, especially you guys still going after GLs. Maybe you're going after Star Killer. Maybe you really want to be ready for Malgus. You need those relic levels elsewhere, and not just on a temporary 2-month solution. So
yeah, and especially like these one-hit one counters.
yeah.
Like it's like you're exactly what you're saying right now, Gum. It works great now against this specific team, but is this always going to be viable against something really high end?
Right. Yeah. So
same thing with Omicrons. I know a lot of people are creaming to their pants over this FOTP Omicron. I would preach caution until we see it at work in 5s.
yeah.
Like we haven't really seen it in 5s. It's great in 3s. It's beating DR and beating a bunch of cool stuff, but I would wait to pull the trigger until we see the same result in 5s.
Yeah, I think it'll be good in 5s, but I mean, for me, I'm like, someone asked me, am I
I
gonna...
don't see how it doesn't get better.
Yeah, I think it'll be...
And it could, yeah.
It could, and I think it will, but I mean, someone asked me, are you going to do it? I'm like, eventually, but I mean, I got a Malgus coming up. I got to say, baby, I got 60.
Malgus and what's his face?
Grand Inquisitor, man.
The head Inquisitor.
So there's some
emphasis
tunes.
on the head.
Yeah.
Have they announced his kit?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was like, wait a second. Yeah, I knew
But he's gonna need Omicrons. There's no way he's not.
Yeah. He's gonna need some crazy Omicrons. And so, I mean, would I like to put FOTP, his on? Sure, I think it'd be great. And it would make, that'd be a first order team I'd put in the back wall. I'm like, deal with that shit. Like, surprise.
Oh, you burned CLS? Good luck.
Yeah, surprise. I think he'd be a great addition to, like a Hux team. You keep your SLKR with Doc, a zombie for whatever, for a GL and stuff, but then you can put the Hux team down with crew at FOTP along with Red Lobster and another character, and that team's gonna rake, dude. If anything, it's going to steal a shitload of banners, and it's gonna be damn near, unless you use something really good, because it doesn't prevent it with all ththose stats and stuff, and then you've got Hux preventing turn meter. Yeah, I think it's going to do quite well in 5s, depending on where your roster is and if you can do it. So. No.
I put it on in 3s for this. I'm not running it. I'm not running it with Hux at the moment. I know running KRU Hux and FOTP seems to be the favorite on defense. I'm just running it with Fox, KRU, him and Fox. I know everybody's not getting advantage out of the box. It's not quite working, but nobody's cleared it yet, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, so it's I'm interested to see what SWGOH says in the future, and anyone else has faced it. So it's going to be an interesting test case. But I think Gom's right. Until we see these things long term, I think everybody's always very excited about them. But are they really going to land the time? I like this one in particular because it does give utility to characters that maybe aren't. It can give a little bit of life into a first order team that maybe isn't as good as it once was. So I like it as an Omicron.
I always tell people to just be patient. Let others go dick around with stuff first, and then save your stuff a little bit. And then once you see, how things are playing out, then you can maybe decide on if you want to make that investment, right? I think it's always a good strategy just to wait a little bit before you make an investment and not just jump the week, the flavor of the week or the month. So, all right, next question. What else in 3? Do you think it's a good chance that if we told CG Kyber 1 needs to place more teams on defense, they'd apply it to all of Kyber, like with ships?
And then everybody would be like, God, you should have shut your No, if they add defenses, they need to really either make a new tier, only apply it to Kyber 1.
I agree.
Right? That is not fair at all for the Kyber 2 and below. Like, it's not even remotely close. It's still a travesty that Kyber 2 and I think 3 have to place 3 fleets, don't they?
Yeah, all of them. Everybody in Kyber.
All 5 of them do.
All 5 of
terrible.
them do.
That's not even remotely close to being.
Yeah.
Well, I have viewers that'll come on and like, oh, I'm Kyber 5. I have 5 capital shits unlocked.
Yeah.
They can't even participate.
So what do they do in that instance? Just leave one blank and give away the free banners? Is that what they do? Or?
Yep.
Okay.
That's what they have to do.
They have no choice.
And the 2 they're leaving probably aren't developed at all.
Yeah, like it's
Rebels, Moblins, Negotiator, and Offense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Got a 5-star finalizer.
BCM talked about that's what he was doing because he just doesn't have the capital ships to put 3 and have 3. I mean, we're all upper echelon, so but not only do we have all 3 for offense, 3 for defense, but we also have that extra fleet in most cases where we have one little boo boo we can clean up like Radis.
We got the Radis Hail Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Radis Hail Mary cleanup.
So I mean, it's. I think they need to be really. I think you would think they would learn after everyone's like, please don't do that. I mean, I agree with Kyber 1. If you're going to do something, start it with Kyber 1. If you want to increase defenses or fleets and stuff like that, that's always a good shout out because everybody at that point in Kyber 1 pretty much have the vast majority, not all, but have most of what they need to at least compete. Kyber 2.
Well, even if they don't, like if they made it to Kyber 1, they'll figure out a way to make it
right.
work. Like I don't have every single fleet. I don't have Radis to clean up, so I had to change my strategy. But I'm able to make it work.
Right. But I mean, people in Kyber 2, definitely more helter skelter on that front, and then Kyber 3 down. Shit. I mean, come on. You imagine if they had to put more defense too, more ground troops. I mean. Woo! Might be some outrage in the community, and then they're going to hang on. So sorry, Gom.
It's all right. I'm always gonna be the guy that asks for more defense.
I know. It's all good.
If we're not using Chopper, we're not doing it right.
Yeah.
I haven't used Chopper this 3. I used him the previous one, but I don't think
that's a problem. We need more teams.
That's true. Oh, Jesus. All right, let me get the damn thing up here. Wait, who's what question? Okay, here we go. The engineer, choo choo. He says, questions. Tomorrow's we get places of power assault battles. I still need to clear last tier. What Sith team does the job? Which one is that? That's the Sith one. Oh,
is this the Sith or First Order one?
Let me look here real quick. I'll tell you.
I think it is. Yeah.
I don't think I've used that 3rd tier. Yeah,
I think
I used Palp, C, Darth Revan, Malak, and I think Bastila Fallen.
Yeah,
I think you can sub Nihilus for one of them.
Yeah,
Palp lead.
Yeah,
Palp lead.
Palp lead. You want Palp lead.
Yeah, old Palp leads, and you can just put it on auto. I don't think they can kill you. Do they not get stuck in some weird?
Yeah,
no, they can kill you. The one that can't get killed is First Order, but First Order kind of sucks because you don't restart.
But I thought I put EP. Somebody like EP, Malik, Bastila Shan, Darth Revan, and Nihilus, or Lord Vader and Nihilus, and then just put the whole thing in auto.
Yeah, Nihilus is great on that one, especially if you haven't been the top tier, because you're going to get that Annihilate off, and someone's going to die. You just save the Annihilate, especially after the one round. Just save it until you need it, and just let.
All right.
Hold on
a second. Hold on.
And you can do it on auto.
Hold on.
You can do it on auto.
I have not been able to do it on auto. You might be able to, but
back in the day,
I tried it a lot of times and it wouldn't.
Yeah, back in the day you could, but they changed it, so that will not happen now because especially.
Oh yeah, didn't they mess with the protection mechanic thing?
Yeah.
But you can put C in now instead of Nihilus, and the EP lead C, but it is possible with no GL as well. I'm sure last time, but it is an EP lead.
Yeah, SLK is just not good for that one, mainly because he just kills all his team. I mean, they just get so weak and then they die. I think the EP Revan combination has been the best. You can throw Nihilus in, but I've done it and beat it with EP, Darth Revan, Bastila, Malak, and Marauder, and still kick the shit out of it because you just control between the shocks and the stuns from C, and then you got all the fear running around. And Malik's constantly taunting.
TM gain from
oh my god.
Yeah,
Marauder just nukes. And then Bastila. I mean, it's just a really good team to use on that. You'll have much success with that team. You can't auto it anymore, but I know what you were talking about because I actually did it once because someone said, can you do this on auto? I'm like, I don't know, let's try. Holy shit, it works.
I think you definitely could for tier 1 and 2, especially. I'm trying to remember what the exact interaction was because they had something with max health.
Yeah. Something
they
along
just
those
made
lines.
Malik pretty much like Malik could solo it essentially or something like that. I can't remember.
Dark side right as well now. You can use Treya lead, I think, now with C and on auto, and they kill themselves. In fact, it's hard even to get C to link Kennedy to keep dying so fast. So this team is comedy because they just attacked so many times that the Treya lead, even though Treya's dead, the lead's still working. So I do think Treya might also work now.
Old school Palp with the Darth Revan combination too works very, 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 very well. I mean, that's another good lead if you don't have C. I mean, both those. I mean, there's quite a few teams, guys. Just let's look it up and trust me, they're out there where you can just literally follow what the person, if they did a video, what they did, and you can be like, okay, that works.
And then you only have to do it once, and you're done forever.
Yeah, once you get it done, that's it. You know, the only one that I don't have done out of all those is that I only have tier 1 of the Night Sister one. I don't have tier 2 or 3, and I'm not even remotely worried about it. It's like, I do want to shout out my boy Clayton, the Mad Chad lad himself. Says, hi to Ranger. I concur. More teams on defense is a must for Kyber 1, or we need a new bracket of GAC. Echoing Gom's thoughts, a fellow combatant at the top 50. He wants more defense. I agree. All right. And thank you, Clayton, as always, my friend. Always appreciate you, dude. Helenix. Oh, God. Here come the heli questions. All right. Prepare yourselves, guys. Here they come. God, who's up first? Oh, I'm up first. Great. Heli, question for Ranger. I was only able to get 70 Darth Malgus shards on the last conquest. Do I have a shot at 330 by the 3rd Malgus conquest? The 4th, 5th? What are my odds? So you get 70? Unless you pulled off a red crate with the 999 pack. That would be the only way. You'd have to get back-to-back red crates with the 999 pack. Which I'm going to guess Heli's more basically free to play.
Yeah.
Then you're probably looking at the 4th or 5th slot. But if you can get the gold crate, I mean, I always tell everybody, but if all you can get is the gold crate, still get it, because instead of the 3rd conquest, you just wait one more conquest, and then you should be able to get them unlocked, if not then the 5th, so you should be fine.
And if that data mine's accurate on us being able to get a pack, you might be able to get 30 shards of Malgus.
Yeah, but that doesn't apply to Heli. He doesn't spend, so
okay, yeah, okay.
You have to do it old school.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead. Yeah, my bad. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm like, no, I don't think anyone in the entire game should feel bad about getting Malgus within 6 months. If you have to wait longer than that, I'm sorry, but those first 6 months, that's fine. Like you can do 1 or 2 months without him.
Yeah, you'll be okie dokie.
Well, if you don't have the gear set aside and all the Omicrons anyway, what good? I mean, he's going to be great, but like really, if you're not ready in terms of gear and Omicrons, it's not the end of the world to wait another month while you accumulate resources, and you can just take them all the way up. I think the ship one I bought the 999 Conquest Pass every round. I think I got 2 gold crates and 1 red that had excess.
Same, yeah,
so,
absolutely. I've done that every conquest now.
I don't know the exact. You might even be able to get away with like a silver crate. I don't know the second to last. I don't know, but it
might depend on how much you buy of the shards in the whatchamacallit.
Yeah. Well, that being said, I didn't get the red crate in those 2, but I did get at least the last 2 nodes where you get the extra shards. So.
Yeah, I had excess too. I mean, basically, if you just get the gold crate, you're missing out on, I think, 4 and 4, because there's 4 extra shards in the last to the 603 mark for the tickets.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even then, you still have 10 left over with just getting gold crate, red crate. I think with the 999 pack, there's a lot of different math out there, but I mean, you can figure it out. You can figure out how much you need, and then, but 1 red crate really drops the stress level on conquest, because you're like, I can go for it, or I don't have to worry about it, you know. So I just get to 603 after the first red crate, because I like those Omicrons at the end there. I mean, they're so hard to get, so kind of hard not to pass those up. Jesus Christ. Oh boy, you look at 60 you need, you're like, don't want to do conquest, feel like I have to. For Omicrons, Jesus. Oh, Christ. Okay, next question for Gom Nom Nom, says Heli. And he says, you said it earlier that placing weak 3v3 defense is pussing out. I placed my weakest tunes on defense. I fell from Kyber 3 to Ronin 3. Do I suck at SWGOH? The answer is yes, but what are your thoughts?
No, sorry. I guess I was a little aggressive, the pussing out, because I'm not good
aggressive.
I'm not good at efficiency, so I assume anybody else that plays the efficiency game, I just don't like to acknowledge that they're better at the efficiency game than me. Nah. Right? So but there's different strategies. I mean, there are people like Blade Baku, who's consistently in the top 25-50, plays a very efficient sort of game. But again, I mean, you got to find those good teams at least drain banners. You got to go through your reports. And much like we don't remember how all the counters, we don't know what our teams are vulnerable to, until this whole round's over, this whole month. We'll know, get a little better idea. But you got to find the teams that drain a banner or 2 every fight, and then just, do the best you can. And you can't mess up on ships, right? That's the problem, in my opinion, with a lot of the efficiency game players is they'll be flawless on the ground and then poop the bed when it comes to ships and lose.
Right.
So that's something you have to be conscious of. If you're going to cheese the board, you might want to consider cheesing ships too if you're struggling and just go all out. That's just one little mistake. The reason I don't like that strategy, one little mistake, one misclick, one, accidentally bringing in the wrong character, whatever the case is, you lose. That's just, I like to give myself a little margin for error by placing heavier defense. I can't really advise anybody on the efficiency game. That's not really what I play. So I don't have the best advice.
You're absolutely right on that because, you have, even with the defense I place, I'm getting efficiency fighters, but what it's allowing me to do is, that's why I have teams left over, is I'm undersizing a lot of the stuff there. It's like, okay, that's going to get Jedi Luke, that's going to get SLKR solo, that's going to get this. So that doesn't leave you a lot of wiggle room as the efficiency fighter to mess up anything, because I'm pretty much going to full clear. I may have a drop like last round. I just won this last round. I only had one drop, and that was just because I had strange RNG with the normal counter they use with Trey versus Iden. It just went wonky, and I had to go back and see what happened. But other than that, all these efficiency fighters, they're dropping battles not only in ships, because I've had one round where it was like 2-2-2 or 2-2-1. I'm sorry, but they drop battles on the ground, and you just can't do that. If you're going to be efficiency and you're going to keep all your GLs, you can't have any matches where you're having multiple ones where it's like 2 or 3, and it's really not the GLs. Some are getting holds, but it's a lot of my other teams, like Newt B1 Magna had 3 holds the previous round. It's just like they took care of the GLs and Star Killer, but then they got to the other teams that I have on defense, and it's like they had no idea what to do, and you can't do that when you're efficiency. So,
I'd say I would like them to find another solution. I was just been reflecting on adding more teams on defense. One issue I'm having is it's now 3 hours to get through a GAC. I know.
Yeah,
so
really?
It took me 3 hours this morning to full clear my opponent.
Damn.
I would rather they found a way to put a GP, almost like a salary cap on a zone or something like that, or some way to kind of don't just keep adding more and more and more. I'd like them to try and drive different strategies or drive people to try and drive variety into the game. Don't just add more and more of the same. So I would like them to try and think about that. But because I think if they did add another 2 streams, I might not be able to ever get to Jedi Academy because I'd still be streaming after 7 hours.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I think also, you got to take into consideration we haven't done 3s in a bit, so, we're all a little rusty on it. Now, I don't take half the time you did on mine, but that's mainly because I'm debating what's going to be where am I going to use this team versus here, and then I'll talk about it. But pretty for the most part, it's what's one or the other, and then I just go in there and kick the shit out of the team. But everybody, and I've been seeing this, a lot of people they're not comfortable with 3v3. It's taken them longer. It's been a while since we did it. I totally get it. And if you're out there with the same issue, trust me, I totally understand. Even for us, we've all, especially me and Gom, we've been doing this for a long time. We've done a lot of 3v3, and Calvin as well, all just a little bit newer on the scene, but we have done our 3v3, all of us. And so even when we got that first match, I had to really think back to the day, what did I use against CLS? Oh yeah, Troopers.
Yeah, it's been a while. The simplest teams are the ones I'm struggling with. The ones that have been around for 3 years, I don't remember. Yeah, that's the ones I don't want to get bit in the butt with.
Yes, that's what happens. All right, let's see here. What else in 3? What are your thoughts on a Relic 9 Gas versus a Relic 9 Boss, Mallet Crew, etc.? Already did Relic 9 on GML and Piet. So, what are your favorite Relic 9s, guys? I just did Bosk. I really like that one. I think Crew's a good one because it really makes your silencer. One, he's a great tank, and then you get the benefits to your silencer. Every little bit helps. I also like General Kenobi. He's a capital ship, and that can really make a difference. We just talked about fleets there, Gom. And he's a tank, so he's going to get that extra tank. I think any tank you pick. Even Ninth Sister, Christ in heaven, that girl gets Relic 9. She is absolutely a monster. Clayton just sent me a screenshot the other day of his Relic 9 Malik. I was like, Jesus Christ, I never want to face that monster. Good Lord, his stats exploded. I mean, we know what GML and P8 is, but is there any other Relic 9s that you guys think about? Or would in a perfect world where you can just get it, what would be like some ones that you would want?
It's like, I don't have any. I've got the GLs, and I have Piet, and then I think I have Grievous. Grievous would be my obscure one, I guess.
That's actually not a bad one.
I have JML.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, like I don't really have the luxury of just splashed them all over the place yet. So I don't know. Grievous is good. I'm really pleased with Grievous. I haven't been disappointed in that at all. It doesn't do much for the ships. That's true. But just in terms of ground, there have been several battles where it's just like Grievous left at R9 just stomping. And that's it. And he wins. Where R8 or R7 definitely wouldn't have won. So I'm glad I did it. I don't really know of too many obscure. Malik would be cool. Probably a tank of some sort. I would do, which I don't know which one. Hell, it'd probably be Darth Malgus.
Yeah, Malgus is my next Relic 9, yeah.
I have a few of them in the bank. I don't have the
other piece, yeah.
The scavenger material for it, but I have the droid brains for them.
Yeah, I've got the droid brains, but after doing the ones that I did and just looking at what you have to salvage, it's like, that is so awful. That is 260 pieces of that gear. That is the right side. You know, the HoloLenses, the furnaces, that kind of shit that, you know, everybody needs to get, you know, that right side done. It's brutal. Relic 9 is brutal, you know, to salvage. It breaks your heart because you're like, I could have taken 2 or 3 characters to Relic. I'm doing 1 character to Relic 9 for 1 Relic level.
I would do a pilot over Gas. I think Gas is the question. I would do somebody else over Gas right now.
Gas doesn't need Relic 9. Relic 8 is fine for him. I just don't. What would he been? I mean, maybe stats
extra. He's terrifying at R9. Don't get me wrong, he's terrifying. I fought one last.
Oh,
round.
really? Okay.
It goes too hot, but he's terrifying. But at the same time, you know, if you have an R9 gas and the opposing has, you know, R7 plus CLS, they're probably still going to get him.
Yeah.
Right. So that's something to consider. I don't think that would be very. If you're in the position of R9 gas, you're doing well in GAC. Your opponents are probably going to have the CLS team capable of beating it. So we'll see. I haven't tried my CLS against an R9 gas, but. We'll see. Though they're out there.
It was fine.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
I have an R8 CLS, but yeah, R9 gas was not. Well, it didn't make a difference. And it was an R9 5s too. Both of them were maxed out for protection.
Yeah. That CLS team, it eats that alive, man. It's so silly. Okay.
And of course, I don't do TW. So all right, Capital Games still haven't added R9 to my game. Until there's a way to be able to get an R9 without doing TW, I'll never have an R9. So it's just, it's a mute point for me. They should not have something that's locked behind a single game mode, especially an actual map like that. So I'd like to see them start putting droid brains, even just one for the person that wins the round at GAC. Or something into that, or somewhere else in the game. Even if they put a couple at the end of Conquest, I think they've got to start putting them somewhere else in the game other than just behind a single game mode.
Well, not just that, but the other
once
pieces.
They become required for something, they will.
Yeah,
it's the same thing they do with the arrows. As soon as they become required for JMK, they're like, oh, we're going to put these in Conquest.
All right. Next question from Helenix, and it's your turn, Calvin. He says, question for the most awesome SWGOH streamer whose name starts with a C and ends in an E. What 3 GAC Omicrons are must-haves? Which should be avoided?
Oh, that's a freaking good question. Okay, so absolute must-haves. So I would say for your average roster, so like not like super end game, the 3 that everybody that really, really needs is Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yep.
Wampa.
Yep.
And the last one's kind of hard. I'm between Zam and Versio.
There's no, either one of those is.
I'm not.
I think Zam is a little more
useful in 3s.
Not so much in 3s, but in 5s.
In 3s, no.
Yeah, 3s. She's kind of.
But she's just able to do things that nobody else does. And everybody kind of has bounty hunters in one form or another. Yeah, I think I would go with those 3.
Yeah.
At least as things stand right now. And then what to avoid? I would avoid, and I know there's a lot of people that love this and then have it and enjoy it. And if you enjoy it and that's part of your gameplay, that's awesome. The one that I've seen a lot of people do that I think has very, very, very low returns is Akbar.
Yes.
I just don't think it changes the vast majority of things. And again, if you get joy out of it, good for you, awesome. But I wouldn't do it. And I guess I can absorb Princess Leia into that as well because she's not doing anything either.
Mm-mm. No, those are a couple good ones to avoid. Any other ones?
Not really. Like at least for GAC, like Troopers definitely has a place in the beginning game.
Yeah.
Not great in the end. Idens is very good. First Order TIE Pilot, we think it's very good. We don't know everything. Dash is maybe Dash is going to start to become one to avoid. I really like it. I have it, but his kit is almost already complete without it.
Yeah.
You know, like if he's going at 360 speed, he's applying irresistible days to your entire team before you move. Do you need constant revives? The court's still out on that one for me.
Yeah, it's still decent. Yeah, it's not a top tier, but it's not. I don't think it's kind of middle of the road, right? You'll get
Yeah, it's very middle of the road. Like it's either the best of the worst or it's the worst of the best.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right.
I regret unlocking Starkiller and thinking woohoo and tossing the 3 Omicrons on him without actually reading what they did. It turns out that all Omicrons are not created equal, and therefore, when we eventually see the Malgus and the Grand Inquisitor, even though they're going to launch with, say, 3 Omicrons, I'm going to actually read them this time, rather than just put them on, because certainly there's 2 Omicrons there I'd rather have back. But I do have, I've got 8 GAC's Omicrons now. And yeah, I've always got a 9th. But yeah, those would be the 2 I'd regret. So if somebody says which one would avoid the 2 that aren't, there's much conflicts in you, whatever that one's called.
Yeah, there's much conflict. The Force Throw is actually pretty good. The other one, you don't really need. You can get away with not having it. Even Force Throw, you can get away with not having. But it is really nice to actually have. But the other one,
it's very situational.
Yeah, but the last one, you don't really see the benefits until he gets into Force Unleashed. But by that time, you drop the goddamn ship on their head, and then at that point, it's like, okay, it's just extra sauce. So you really, what are you getting? It's like Jesus. I mean, it dispels.
After we drop a Star Destroyer, after we drop a Star Destroyer on someone, I then have another Omicron.
Yeah,
it's like overkill. So yeah, that would be that's one thing that I probably learned, and it's something that even though I'm sure these people will launch with 3 Omicrons and stuff, they're not all equal, even on one character, and one character maybe doesn't need them all. Whether they'll design them better in the future, but it just surprised me how there was actually 1 or 2 on Starkiller that weren't needed.
Well, yeah, we have to see how these things shake out with the counters, because Malgus right now, from what we can tell, 2 of his are probably a must, and the 3rd one looks okay.
Right.
But it's going to depend on what counters. Like, does that 3rd one stop? This is probably an irrelevant counter. Does that 3rd one stop CLS?
Right.
Because if the 3rd one just magically stops CLS, then yeah, you're going to want to have it. If it doesn't stop anything, it doesn't change any counter, then it can just stay off.
Easier.
Well, that's the thing. Like Starkiller and Malgus are going to be around for a long, long time.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be at some point in the game in the future, you're going to have an Akbar Omicron, a Dash Omicron, some sort of Omicron on the bench that you didn't even use, right? Much like Zetas are now. Whereas then you'll wish you had that extra one on Starkiller because you came up just close. You came so close to killing Geo with it, but man, if you would have had that healing immunity, he wouldn't have healed up and killed your whole team, like something like that. It's tough. It's tough. It's because they're so rare.
Yeah, the Datacron where Ray's going to have a lot of health stealth or health steal. That's the word I wanted. You're going to want healing immunity.
Yeah.
They're so rare to get right now, but all of us are hoarding them and being real choosy with them. But at the end of the day, we all know they're going to be free flowing eventually, right? Like we're going to just have so many of them. Like I'm putting Zetas on stupid characters now just because I have 120 in the bank. So it's like, one day. But
yeah, that's
any Omicron you place is not going to be a waste. I guess they're all going to be. You're going to have lots of wasted ones at the end of the day, I guess.
Yeah, as long as you get some value out of it, it's done its job. Helenix, question for the flies. Sandfly to ever sand flies. I'm almost done with Cease Ultimate. 2 more tokens to go. I plan on Lord Vader and Starkiller Net. Considering that, what is the origin of your name again? Oh, for Christ's sakes.
Oh, gross.
We're not getting, are we? I'm not allowed.
Is this the beach story? Is this the beach story?
We don't get this one.
Okay, moving on. You can ask him offline. Because if this is involving the beach story, I don't have 30 minutes for him to go into that whole spiel.
Oh, that was so funny.
I know. Well, back in the day, I was on the beach, and then blah blah blah. I'm like, uh-oh. Wait,
There's
this
two
is-
girls.
Yeah, these two girls. Like, wait, uh-oh, wait a minute, hold on. No, sir. No, sir. Andrew Zani Major question: how do you mod armor? I'm working on her for C. Is gear 11 fine on Watt for him? Wait. How do you mod armor? I'm working on her for C. Is gear 11 fine on Watt for him, or do I run Sith Empire with C? No, you want to run Watt. Oh, we got another
Now
donation.
you see that evil will always triumph, because
Oh,
good is dumb.
That's true. Good is dumb. Thank you for reminding us, Lord Helmet. Jeanette Baker, with the donation. It says, "Good morning, my friends. Good morning, Jeanette." Okay. So if I'm understanding this question correctly, how do you mod armor? And then is gear 11 fine for Watt for him? And then, or do I run Sith Empire with C? I mean, armor's fast.
She can use
Fast and
protection
tanky.
defense, but yeah, you want her to have fat. You want her to be fast.
Right. And then gear 11 Watt. I mean,
That's
best
fine
you
until you
can
get JMK.
yeah. I mean, that's totally fine. Now, do you run Sith Empire with C? No. You can, on defense, run Malak, because that really destroys a lot of counters that people will use against C if you put them on defense. Typically, what you see, and there's different combinations, you usually see if people are really nervous about, like they're using it against Ray, for example. I'm just using Ray as the counter. You'll see Watt and you'll see armor. They're just there to get the ingots and the tank tech on them. And then you'll see maybe two tanks. Sith Empire tank is one, and then they'll run another tank just to take the damage. I've seen Shore used a lot in that team. But other tanks have been used. I've seen L3 and other things like that. That's for offense. On defense, it's a different setup. But you're typically on defense not running armor or Watt with C on defense.
You definitely shouldn't.
No, there's a bad... No, don't do that. But I think...
Armor will get the 3 stacks of Beskar, and
Yeah.
then she'll put it on Watt.
I've
I've seen it so many times.
Oh my God. Or at a tank, you're like,
I
why?
used to climb with SLKR, and I was like, oh no, they're going to put it on C. I'm not going to be able to kill it. It just throws it on Watt. I'm like, all right, cool.
It's like, yay! I think gear 11 Watt's fine, right? Because he's going to go, unless there's a Han there, he's going to go first. He's going, you're going to
And
be
even
running.
then, if Han's there, you don't want to do that at R7 either.
No, even then you're like, no. But you're using it for offense. Watt does his tank tech. He's going to die. Armor does the 2 ingots on C. Then she's going to die. But as long as she's fast and you can get it out quickly, should be fine on that. Speed on her, gear 11, yeah, should be fine for C, right? As long as you've got health on C. If you're running 130,000 health, I don't care what you do, you're going to get your ass kicked. You know.
I'm going to die.
Go ahead and get gobbled up by Grievous.
Yeah, pretty much. Just like, oh, that's Grievous food. Thank you for the free banners. Jesus. Oh, boy.
I will say in armor, it's probably way before, it's way early, but it would be a good practice to keep armor 21 or 31 speed faster than Thrawn. Just for later. Just get used to doing that, because that comes in really handy down the road in countering GLs.
I'm
just
actually
a good
looking.
practice to start.
Yeah, I think my Thrawn. Yeah, I've actually got that because my armor's like almost 340. Thrawn's like 310, so 315, something like that. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a good suggestion.
Well, a little bit higher on what can be useful for TB. I mean, his what he does to that Grievous squad and TB, like I said, TB is
Dark Side TV. Yeah.
Can be very useful. So, it does help the guild out, and obviously you then get the added get 2 or get 1 in the final thing because you got what. So there's a little bit of it, but not for GAC.
Yeah. See here, next question from Remember Jedi. It says, question for the panel. What have been the 2 biggest changes you have seen this week's 3v3 versus week 1? I haven't seen any changes. It's been the same thing. I haven't seen any difference. It's all been efficiency fighters, maybe 1 GL. That's all I've been seeing. I mean, I haven't seen anything different. Calvin, we were talking about 3v3 a little bit.
No.
But anything different from week 1 to week, the first week of GSC to this week?
No, that's exactly what you said. No, I still haven't. I mean, unless my current opponent has 5 GLs behind his front wall, it's like you said, it's still the same thing of people putting 1, maybe 2 GLs on defense, and then going to him on offense.
Yeah, that's what I've been seeing. What about you, Gom?
Not really. I've fought a lot of. It's just I have a sample size of what 4. I haven't fought this one yet, so 5 maybe.
Gotcha.
I mean, I know a popular strategy. Like I said, I got 1 cheese, and everybody else has been putting 2 down. I think 2 or 3 of those guys have put both GLs in the back, right, trying to drain out
sneak
stuff in the front.
Yeah.
So the same sort of strategy. This guy's put them in the front, but the one thing I've noticed is people are getting better at offense. They're getting more comfortable. Like my teams, like this guy, he left the team standing, but he averaged 55.5 or everything else.
Pretty nice.
So like that's pretty impressive. He put down a decent defense too. So people are getting better. People are getting more efficient. Remembering, right? They're brushing the dust off. They're getting a little less rusty. So week 4, I'm a little terrified. So we'll see.
Have you thought about changing your strat? Because I know you like to go defense, but are you getting more comfortable yourself, Gom? Maybe going like something like I'm doing, like 3 GLs and a Star Killer, and saving some more of your GLs for offense.
Well, I'm picking up some new teams. Like, what is it? The other night, Jeffsky was like, Padme R2 Moff Gideon. I was like, what the hell is that? But sure enough, Moff Gideon goes, Padme instantly gets 20 stacks of courage and you one-shot a character.
That's true.
It's like, you know, so like that's a great, like I'm picking up cool teams, but not from my hell. Most of them come from the chat, right? So people are offering suggestions. That's one benefit of streaming, right? Everyone bitches like, oh, they can see my defense and they know but I've got, you know, a whole group of friends that are helping me, giving me ideas and stuff as we go. So it's really a wash in terms of advantage, disadvantage of streaming. So I've learned some really cool teams. Chat's come up with a lot of cool stuff. A lot of creative, very in-game players have been watching the stream, so I'm getting a lot of good tips from them along the way. So
it is nice to have, because sometimes I'll be on the fence when I'm doing GAC. Like, I know I could use this team, but what about this team? And it's nice to have those people in chat that I know are, you know, Kyber 1 that are, you know, in the same boat that, you know, can give you like the pros and cons of like each one of those. So
they'll make some terrible suggestions sometimes too.
Yeah,
right? So
you have to.
careful,
that's when you as the streamer need to know. Like, no, that's horrible. I'm not using that team. That get the hell out of here.
You don't have to tell them, but they just completely shit on them. But
no, I do. I'm like,
that's a terrible suggestion.
Well, now they go like, use Ewoks. Get the hell out of here. Leave me alone. You're a bad person. You know. Some people just want to see the world burn. What about you, Aldous? Any difference between what you saw in the first week and this week?
Firstly, Loki needs to put his damn lobster down and help me better, and stop sending me pictures of his lobster from holiday.
No, he does that all the time. He's going to continue doing that. Get used to that, Aldous.
A couple of differences. I've actually noticed a couple of differences. This week, a lot less Wompable teams on the front line.
Okay.
People are not giving you that free 78 to kick it off. Certainly, I'm not seeing Grievous on the front line, so I think people are learning. I've certainly taken Grievous off the front line. He's now on offense. So I think we're putting less and less Wompable down. So I think we're seeing that. The other thing is the squishing. There used to be about 13,000 people in Kyber 1. I estimate there's now around 6,000. So the squishing
really, I haven't really looked at that.
And I'm now up to 4. I think I'm 4,000th in the world, and I think the highest person I can find in Kyber 1, or the highest ally, is around 6,000, whereas it used to be 13. So I'm really interested when you get round to the next GAC Centre. Great program. I think they've almost halved the number of people in Kyber 1, as far as I can tell. I mean, someone will correct me, no doubt, but
I have no idea.
I'm looking at my leaderboard right now.
Yeah, I hadn't even paid attention to that, because I always get squished, but I'm always, you know, well where I need to be to stay in Kyber 1.
But,
I don't really notice it.
There's a lot less. There seems to be, and I don't know whether that is. There's a few comments in chat about people being less engaged. I don't know whether that's the intention of CG to reduce Kyber 1 down, to maybe open up, making Kyber 1 more of an elite league and make changes there, or whether that was always intention, or whether it's a lack of engagement from people. But there is definitely less. I don't know whether they're doing it sequential. So I'm interested next week. Somebody please look out, somebody educated, look out and see how many's in Kyber 1 next week, and see whether or not they're actually moving and Kyber 1's, because it's still the same 360-10 for some silly reason, cut off.
Yeah, I never really paid it. I didn't really notice that.
The numbers I think are almost half.
Someone look that up and let me know. I don't know if we'll do it on GA Center.
So yeah, mine is as well. But the lowest ranking Kyber that I can see is 6,200. But I think one of the things that happens, and I could be wrong here, is they're starting to accumulate really high concentrations of points at the very top. So there's not as many points as around to go around for those lower guys.
Maybe. But it just seems to be. I mean, I don't know if this was ever CG's intention, but if a lot of points were accumulated at the top, this is something that's going to become a problem in a month's time when there's only 2,000 people left in Kyber 1. You know, like I don't know why it's happened, but it's something. I mean, like I said, the questions about what I noticed is different.
That is a great observation. I hadn't even paid attention to that.
Things,
good job, man.
Two things I can find quite weird.
Yeah, that's
it's interesting to say the least.
Yeah, it is very interesting. I mean, how many more are going to be, get slimmed off, or maybe people are just not with the squishing. How many being dropped below that 3610 that are near it? I mean, that's a really good. I'd love to see the data points on that. That'd be fantastic. All right, just a quick note. We're here on the Jedi Academy answering your questions. If you want to get your question, now is the time. We're getting to the tail end of the show. So if you want to get your questions, now is the time to get those in. And then, what else? Hit the thumbs up, please. Subscribe. We got like almost 100 people watching. Get some more likes. That'd be appreciated. It does help. Content creators say it all the time, and I know it's a cliche because you hear them saying all the time, subscribe, like the channel, blah, blah, blah. But it does make a difference. I mean, I say it because it does. When YouTube looks at interactions, that's how they pimp your stuff. So that's why we say what we do. So if you can hit that thumbs up, that would be most appreciated. And of course, do that for these awesome content creators. We allow them to pimp their stuff here in a little bit. Nathan H., what is the Swedish chef's opinion of the return of 3v3? Oh, Christ. You would ask me that. In the driven Gianna. And the gum, and the jiven, the gum. Gummy. Oh, there you go. That was the Swedish chef. Psycho Drums question. 3v3 against JMK Cat AT. No tanks. So can I instant kill an opponent cat through damage immunity if my cat is faster? Yeah, he asked me this earlier. I was almost 100%, but I'm not. If they don't have a tank and you have instant kill on cat and she hits it, like their cat's got damage immunity because yours is faster, it still kills her, right? That first shot's an instant kill no matter what, right? Even if they have damage immunity.
I'm fairly certain.
I think we've done that again.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the case. I'm almost positive, but I wasn't 100%. But I'm almost close to 100% as I can be that that's the case, right? That if cat goes first, no matter what they got on them, they die. They can be revived, but they are going to die, regardless of what they have on them. Because I'm just trying to think, like, it's been a while since I've actually not had anybody not put a tank with JMK, so usually the tank when I mirror match, that's the way it goes, but I'm almost... chat will let us know. Someone's going to say in chat, like, you idiot ranger. Okay, Dark said, yes, I've done it, so there you go.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that's the case, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it says so in the kit, so there you go. Zariel, what's going on? Zariel's from the Australia-New Zealand Guild Coalition. Glad to have you here. This is a question for Gom. With the Inquisitor faction generally considered lackluster at this point, what do you hope that the Grain of Crystal bring to the faction, and how will he make them worth the investment?
Well, I think the popular thing is the Grand Inquisitor will have some ability that draws all the leaderships or uniques or something together.
Yeah,
I think that would definitely do it. Inquisitor, they're not nearly as bad as we initially thought. Since they've added these new uniques to them, they're not terrible. They lack a little bit of offense. I'm having a hard time getting big.
Yeah,
it's a control damage.
They don't have the firepower.
Yeah.
At least right now.
Yeah, a little lacking on the firepower, but I mean, one buff from Grand Inquisitor could change that in an instant, right?
Yeah.
They all deal double damage and true damage or something like that. Like that's all it takes.
Yeah.
One line in there and they're done.
Some sort of mechanic where, like, well, if you hit somebody with this many, per purge stack, you get, this much. Like true damage would instantly solve the offensive issue. So something like that, something to amp up the damage based on, factors X, Y, and Z. Maybe just bringing like a Mon Mothma sort of Chupio sort of buff to the team. Maybe like a enhance everybody's stats by X amounts sort of mechanic would work. Or he just be the damage dealer himself. Maybe I have no idea what to expect out of this kit. It's been very TW focused first. I'd find it really hard to believe he didn't have some sort of grand arena mechanic. I could be wrong, but I don't know. It's offense is what we need. Offense. So
Yeah,
it's a great control team, but you only have 5 minutes to win, so you need some sort of offense.
yeah, you got to get the stacks of purge, and then they start hitting hard. But it's such a. I mean, against Jedi teams they dominate, but again in TW we've talked about this. Ain't that many teams Jedi you don't see in TW, you know. So it's going to be that other parts of the kit that with Grand Inquisitor we'll see what it does. So all right, next question. That was a good friend Zariel. Alexander Bryan question: how many days does it take to farm tier 4 to 6 for a GL if doing 50 refreshes and 100s? Is it worth it to get Rey Ultimate faster, or is it 50s enough? I always did the 50s, and usually it took me between 10 and 12 days to do the Ultimate. Now Rey and Kylo are a little bit different because make sure you understand how the mechanics of those fight works. The other ones are easy. I mean, those you just get in there and like Palpatine, Luke, I mean, you're going to get the ultimate mats. But Rey and SLKR, you have to be a little bit more careful with that. But typically 10 to 12 days, am I off? I mean, just doing the 50s. I never did the 100s. I just did the 50s, and I got it in 10 to 12 days. But that was all energy.
For the old, it's typically 20 days if you're just doing the 50s.
Or is it the 100s too? It's been a while since I've done the math on that.
Because to unlock the character, that's typically 10 or 12 days.
Okay.
If you do the 50s, but I think if you dip into the 100s, or sorry, for just the ult, I think it's longer.
Right. Okay. So yeah, you should be okay. I mean, just you're gonna. I mean, I think typically the more you invest in it, the quicker you'll get done. So, those ticket farming just sucks. So good luck to you.
I wouldn't necessarily I wouldn't rush Rey's ultimate at the moment in 3s. She is great. She's very good. The ultimate kind of slows down in the number of whirlwinds she does, so it's not one that I think you ultimately need very, very fast. So I think you're okay. I don't think you'd necessarily need it very fast. I at the moment, the way that things are with the Grand Inquisitor kits and things and all these new stuff coming, I don't think you necessarily need to rush anything. I think 3v3 and also the changes to GAC kind of mean to me that you're going to find your level anyway. So, you know, if you rush it, you'll just rush up a bit faster. So I would just keep with your 50s, keep doing those. I think it takes about 3 weeks. I think Calvin's about right, 20 maybe in that space. And watch what you're farming, because it's not just getting the ultimate. You've obviously got to put on all our gear and stuff like that as well. So, and the relic levels. So yeah, I wouldn't rush it.
All right. Next question, Nightmare. Who is someone you have never played in GC but you really want to? I love to face Gom. I love to face Calvin. I love to face Aldous. I mean, those are always fun when you can get a content creator fight. What about you guys, Aldous?
Just anyone. I've never faced anyone. So yeah, I just love to have a bit more of a. I think at the moment, I think we're crying out. I think, but with the squishing and with the less and less people, I'm getting closer and closer to a lot of people. Me and Ranger, we're actually, you know, you've gone stellar at the moment, so you've gone straight up. But the differences between people is getting smaller and smaller. I'd love to face, you know, there's so many incredible content creators in my guild as well. I'd like to face some of them. But yeah, just generally anyone. Anyone would be fun. I'd like to face more people we know. I'm always surprised that I've never, ever faced. I think, the person that runs the Bounty Hunter Discord server, but that's the only person in all this time I've ever faced that is someone we actually know. I've faced some incredible people that always send me nice messages, and I send in nice messages, and we all, you know, but yeah, at the area that I am in, that kind of 4,000, 6,000, whatever in that space, there's so many differences, even though at the moment me and 2 other people in the community have exactly the same score point as me. We're like, fingers crossed we match up, but even if you finish on the same score points, doesn't mean you match. No. So yeah, it's, you can still be 100 points or 300 places apart, even though you're the same points. So, but yeah, I'd love to face Range. I'd love to face Gom. I'd love it if, you know, I'd love to face people with even rosters as well. I'd love that. I think there's a lot of, but I think we'd have a good fun anyway. But I look forward to facing them. But again, it's my job to get up there, and I will get up there. And when I get up there, I will face them, and it'll be good fun then.
There you go. All right, Gom. Anybody you haven't faced yet? Because I know you faced some folks in GAC. Still on your radar that you'd like to get your hands on?
I'd like to fight Zareth. I've never got to fight Zareth.
Yeah, you
I
fought
solo
Yeah.
3 times. I've never got to fight Zareth. We're real close. I thought I lost my last match. He won, so he's about like we're within 20, 30 points of each other consistently, one way or the other. Like one of us wins, the other one loses, and it's just back and forth. Can't seem to match up. I'd like to fight anybody, really. Any content creator would be a lot of fun. I've gotten to fight a few. Smaller guy, Gom Gaming. Ironically, his channel's name is Gom Gaming. Zilver, I think his name is. That was a lot of fun. Good guy. I've got to fight some others. Oh, I got to fight Skeltrex. That was a lot of fun.
Yep.
And he took me to the woodshed with a much lower GP. I fought Bitcoin. Bitcoin beat me. And Bitcoin put his foot in my throat with 0 Grand Arena Omicrons. So that one hurt a little bit. That was a little hurt for my pride, but it's anybody can win any day, and it's a lot of fun fighting you guys, especially we got the GAC Center forum, the Discord. It's cool there to go in there and just banter back and forth with your opponent. I've gotten to know a lot of cool content creators that I wouldn't even have ever met through through that network of players. That's been a really cool experience. I need to start writing some reports. I haven't written one in a while. Sorry. You guys even doing the show anymore?
Yeah, I mean, just we've it's been a little helter skelter here of late, just because there's been a lot going on. But I mean, like we did it last week, but we didn't do this one this week yet. So I think we're going to maybe do it tomorrow. Depends on what's going on, but we will try to get it in. If not, then we'll just cover everything again on Thursday again. So. Yeah, we try to be consistent with it.
I'd like to fight Fatal too. I'd like to fight
God,
Fatal.
I know I'll get my ass handed to me, but just I would take the beating with pride, So like
Calvin will inevitably climb all the way up and pass me.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I get to fight him on the way as he passes me. hopefully, we get the chance to fight. But
that would be fun too.
Yeah,
that would be really fun.
Yeah, it would be really dope. Anybody on your radar, Calvin?
I really wanted to face Endall. Like we were even in the same bracket all of last week. And it was, we just completely missed each other. So yeah, anyone would be cool that I know, especially streamers.
All right, cool.
Arnold. I'd like to fight Arnold.
Yeah,
the problem with fighting Arnold is his production would take so long. Just sitting on him waiting to attack. It would drive me insane. Like, it would drive me insane watching him dance and do all the, it's a great presentation, but I think I would go on tilt a little bit, like having to wait. You know what I mean? Like, watch it. I don't know. I feel like that would be a long, lengthy 6 hour. It'd be worth it. It'd be a lot of fun, but I feel like it would affect my play style. Just, I'd be nervous, I guess.
Yeah.
In a sense, I would be nervous and I would probably blow it. So.
It's so, but it's when it would be a lot of fun. Okay. Nightmare question: can only have 2 of these 3 come to SWGOH from Book of Boba Fett. Which would you take? Cobb Vanth, Black Chrysanthemum, or the N1 Starfighter? Well, I want Cobb Vanth and Black Chrysanthemum. You guys can tell me who you want, but I think those are the 2 I'd love to see in the game.
Please don't ask me.
All right, we'll skip Gom.
I don't know who those are.
Well, you watched Book of Boba Fett, didn't you?
Yes.
So the big Wookiee.
Him.
And then the sheriff, the marshal.
We'll go with the Wookiee.
Okay, we'll go with the Wookiee. I'll discount out of those 3. Jesus Christ.
Chrysanthemum big time, because what I wanted for him is I wanted a bounty hunter, another bounty hunter dark side tank, so Boss can actually, just stay with one team. We don't need to constantly shift him around.
Mm-hmm.
And I want him to have a GAC Omicron completely built around working around DBB, so that DBB can have a real function in GAC instead of just being this random scoundrel catalyst. That's what I would like.
Great. And I'd like to see Cobb Vanth in the game too. So, I mean, I'm not too worried about this ship, but I mean, those 2 characters would be dope, I think. I'd love to see some of the Tuscans coming around with the Tuscans. I mean, that'd be cool too to get those characters. We'll see. I mean, Aldous, you kind of on the same boat, or do you really want the ship?
No, I mean, well, I would go Black Chrysanthemum and the ship, but those wouldn't
fine.
necessarily be those wouldn't be the three I would pick from Book of Boba. You know,
There's a lot you can
like
pick.
I said,
yeah.
there's a lot you could pick, but I would have picked. Yeah, I would have. Black Chrysanthemum, yes, would be really good, but I'd love those two new Tuscans. Are pretty cool. There was a lot of stuff in there that they could have built on. I even liked the woman that ran the casino. I know she got blown up, but that was quite cool.
Yeah, she was hot.
Yeah, she was hot. She could have that new Old Republic droid next to her.
Yeah, she's like a fairly popular actress too. She's done a lot of stuff, so that's.
Anyway, but yeah, there's a lot in there. But yeah. Brad-Kassan, as far as I understand, I mean, I'm not a good aficionado, but my understanding is that Black Chrysanthemum weaves through a lot of the other stories. So he might even turn up in things like Kenobi. He might even turn up. So it would be nice to see him develop and become, like a more recurring character across the entire new Disney sphere. So yeah, he would be probably the one that would be the best.
Nathan H. question: will you try the new CG Lord of the Rings game? Yes, I will. And will it have a secret knife attack from Gollum? Gollum didn't use weapons, so no secret knife attack from Gollum. I think I'm very down for the new Lord of the Rings game. I don't know how you guys are on a scale of. I mean, Lord of the Rings is one of my favorites. Series, books, movies, everything. I mean, I've read all the books multiple times, well versed in the history and the lore. I just find it, I think his works are a masterpiece. I think the movies are fantastic. I love watching that. I'm excited for the new Amazon series as well. So, I mean, that's got me hyped too. I mean, that's me, but I don't know how the rest of you guys are on the new Lord of the Rings stuff.
Well, I have a Lord of the Rings tattoo.
There you go.
And having worked for a New Zealand company and spent a hell of a lot of my time in New Zealand, I've been to all locations. I love Lord of the Rings, and it is a childhood love of me. Whether I'll play the game, not sure. I probably will play the game. I think one thing I would advise or see what happens is that if I learn anything from whatever that last game was, the day it goes live with the VPL, everyone jumped on it and we're starting streaming it, but nobody else could play it in the community. So it kind of burnt itself out because people weren't really along for the journey. Whereas, so I think we got to be a little bit careful with it, and maybe I'm talking to content creators here rather than the community. That bear in mind that only 5% of people watching are actually playing along with you if you go live during the VPL thing. So we'll see what that happens, but I think it'll be decent. My only concern is they're obviously we've seen the monetization in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. They're going to have a very similar view on monetization when it comes to this. They're going to use exactly the same ramp. So I think there's with great caution would be my thing.
Okay. There you go. All right. Next question. Nightmare question: if Obi-Wan Kenobi never deals in absolute, why does he believe that Vader is past saving and discouraged Luke from attempting to bring him back to the light? I don't know. I mean, Jesus, that's a philosophical debate I don't think I want to get into right now.
Well, it stems from a misunderstanding of what he meant by dealing in absolutes, and that comes from Anakin's comment of like, if you're not with me or against me, it's my way or the highway. It doesn't mean you can't state absolutes, because that is within itself is an oxymoron,
right? And
people love to make a meme about it, and it's a funny meme, but it dies out pretty quickly.
Yeah. Okay. What else? 3 question for Gom. If you have the Akbar Omicron, would you put Relic Chopper with Akbar and lay on defense?
Probably not. But I don't know. He would assist every turn, right? It'd be interesting to see that mechanic, right?
It would actually.
He would automatically assist because he would be one of the 2 on the team. There's only 3. And then it would be interesting to see if he would assist again. I don't know how that mechanic would work. You would spam a bunch of buffs, right? Like, because you get a lot of buffs in your team. You'd have to have a really good Leia, right? Because that's all of your offense would be Leia. So I don't. It's interesting. If anybody has Akbar, let me know how that works with
Clayton,
Chopper.
Clayton does. If you want to talk to him about, he's
Yeah.
actually used Akbar Leia.
Like, would he just assist like constantly?
Great question. I don't know because I don't.
That's a
have
lot
it.
of buffs. You get offense up, speed up. You get basically all the buffs to your team. Again, as long as Leia could kill somebody, because Chopper doesn't exactly hit hard. So,
Timberson, question for Aldous, the Sandfly. Did you hydrate? Are you hydrating? You're hydrating, buddy?
I'm hydrating right now.
All right, there you go.
Thank you.
Millis, question for Aldous. Are you going for Lord Vader next, or are you hanging out with the new guys? How do you decide who to farm?
I think you need the 6 GLs. I think there's been too big a gap between the last GLs and any new potential GLs. Therefore, I think you need Lord Vader now to be in Kyber 1. Even all the people talk about him, he's still a very, very, very good character. So, unfortunately, I'm now going for Lord Vader, having kind of slept on him. But I am going hard after. I was going very hard after Inquisitor at the very start when I thought that the Conquest. I thought we were going to never get to Red Crate in the first Conquest because the Inquisitors were going to lock it out. It turned out that the Conquest was actually very easy and the Conquest defeats were cheesable. So I've kind of taken a little bit of a break. I think I took my second sister to 7-star today. The Big Bird she's just over 6-star, and Greta is now 7. I think she's about 45 out of 60, the yellow one. So Inquisitors are coming along, but I do think one of the problems I'm having is I'm unlocking characters too fast. In the
Getting ahead of your mods and gear.
Well, getting ahead of just about everything. I mean, I'm going to get Darth Malgus, I guess, in 2 months' time. If I miss Grand Inquisitor on the first turn, which is probably likely, maybe, I don't know, it'll be close, but I'll probably miss it. I'll be getting him in the second iteration. I know CG haven't told us the cadence, but if the cadence is monthly, which if they're going to try and monetize it, they probably want to do it monthly, or they need to tell us it's going to be 3 monthly before they drop it the first time. If it's monthly, then I'll get Grand Inquisitor and Malgus on about the same week by my calculations.
I would say fix Malgus up first.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's obviously been a huge delay with the Inquisitor, as far as I can tell. So it looks like the Inquisitor's kit's getting a bit of a rewrite, maybe from bottom up. But I don't know that. I mean, like, I am purely guessing. But yes, it looks like they're certainly back to drawing boards on it, as far as I can tell, or it seems strange. But I'm not good at. I think I'm just now going for Lord Vader. I mean, I don't have Bad Batch, so there's always everybody always wants me to use Bad Batch, but not having Bad Batch is a huge problem. Not having Bad Batch, so I think at the moment, like I say, I mean,
do Bad Batch, get them up and running, and then go finish what you need for Lord Vader, and then you have the Bad Batch team.
I'm not a million miles. I mean, I took 3 more characters to R7 this week before this that are Lord Vader. So Padme went to R7, Dooku went to R7, and Zami went to R7. I think.
There you go.
Before lock-in. So I'm not a million miles off Lord Vader, but yeah, certainly going for Lord Vader now because you need that. You do need all the GLs now.
Yeah.
The new stuff's fun, but you need the GLs.
Yeah, great. Looks like Team Money came out of retirement. Operation Metaverse question. What do I use General Grievous on offense in 3v3? Really?
I don't know. That's a serious question.
Oh, I thought you were messing with me, dude.
No, because you guys were talking about keeping Grievous for offense because it's wampable. I don't know what to use him in offense. That's a serious question.
Well, Calvin, what would you like Grievous for offense? We'll just go around the corner here.
I use Grievous on defense.
Never mind. All right, Aldous, what do you like?
It's not a good team, but I don't know anything I can beat him on offense with, at least securely, because Grievous really loves all 4 droids. He goes down a big notch in threes, whether on offense or defense.
It's true. I mean, what did I use? I'm trying to remember because he's typically a team like I use him like on a backline team. So any teams that are in the backline, I'm like, I'll Grievous this. It's like something that's on there that's pretty weak. I know Grievous is going to eat the shit out of it because he's going to eat. I'm trying to remember specific teams though, because it's been kind of helter skelter what I've used him on. Like last night, I used him as an item cleanup because my trade team didn't go very well. So I just went in there with Grievous and I kick the shit out of her with Grievous. I mean, I lost both droids, but at that point he had ramped up, and with the AoE target lock against her, it still worked quite well, and he just got very angry and started one-shotting all of them. So that actually, trying to think what else I used it on. It's been kind of helter-skelter. Shit, you would put me on the spot on this. I know I used it something else. I have to go back and look at my GSC history. He's not a priority, though. But I don't like him on defense because he's just, Well,
the point. I think the point we're obviously picking up is that Grievous on the front line is an automatic Wampa 68, kicks the whole thing off, and the guy is just, it's automatic. So you can give your opponent that level of an efficiency start. So that was my point about I'm now not seeing him on defense. He is not great on offense. He doesn't get great banners, but he can. We are talking just about everybody has him at R7, or well, depending on where you are.
Range,
people tend to have him at a higher relic level because you need him to unlock gas, or you need the other. You need him to do stuff. So people do tend to have him at a very kind of decent level. So, it tends to just roll over a random team. There's a random team that is only Relic 1, or there's a G12 in there, and just Grievous just deals with it and it's done. It's not a good counter to anything. It's not a great... and I'm running it without B1 at the moment. I've got Magna, B2, and Grievous. But it still does good work, Grievous's damage is through the roof, so it works. It works.
All right.
I kind of don't care if someone wampas my GG though.
Well, they're not wamping your Darth Revan, so there's something.
They're not wamping my Darth Revan. They're not using it against my gas. They're not using it against my dash. They're not using it against my C without Malik. Like that's. Right. I don't even think that's a good trade.
I don't use it. Yeah, I use Momo against Grievous. I'm like, because that Darth Revan just too good of a target for womps, right? So, but yeah,
I don't.
Maybe
if you're trying to pull Grievous because of Wampa, that I don't think you should.
No.
Maybe the trend I'm talking about is more these well-known Malik solos as well, or Nest solos, are not appearing on the front line. They might be going on the back line now, but certainly people are getting wise to these teams that are very, very easy to clear. I take your point. I take your point on Wampa on Grievous isn't as good. Like I say, I Wampa'd a C this morning.
See, that's a really good trade.
That's a really good trade.
Yeah.
Darth Revan or GL,
you Wampa out with Grievous on front wall, cool.
Because there's a lot of stuff that can take out Grievous, but there's a little bit less.
Oh yeah, tons of stuff.
But I think that was an excellent move. So yeah.
It's more of a trend. I'm not saying that Grievous is good on offense.
He's just lacking in 3v3s. But I just tend to, because I know there's so much shit that can beat his ass in defense. I just don't want to give banners. And I've got better teams, so I just keep for offense for that one team in the back that's like, okay, you thank you. I'll go Grievous that, the kind of thing. So, let's see. OBZ says, question, Cats, 1 year anniversary is tomorrow. Do you think we'll see Proving Grounds this week or any other way to farm the shards? I think we're going to get a lot of big announcements this week. It's Star Wars Celebration Week. The Kenobi show's coming out. I think Galaxy Heroes is going to be putting out some stuff. I think we might get Proving Grounds. Maybe we get the kit reveal for Grand Inquisitor. I'm not too hopeful on that. I know Eighth Brother is going to become farmable. But they're going to make some announcements at Celebration. Something's coming, right? They're not just going to go on the stage and talk about the game and not have some kind of big announcement. Something always drops then. I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel, but I think we're going to get some news this week. On some of this stuff.
Do you guys recall, for you very old players, remember it was either Star Wars Celebration or EA Play or something where we were supposed to speak, but like the developers were supposed to go on stage and have something to say, and they basically just put Cozy Spoon and what's his name, Mr. Personality in a tent. I forget.
Oh yeah. I remember we did a whole spoof on that with Urban. We had the stick figures and stuff.
Yeah, it was like this big announcement. The whole community. I remember it was sitting in the Alliance Discord. There's like 50 people in there watching this all together, and they never got stage time, and just got like 30 seconds in like a tent.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We'll see. Well, we'll get the news when we get the news, guys. I know Proving Grounds is coming sooner rather than later. It is Cat's 1 year anniversary. You would think that Proving Grounds would be out sooner rather than later. It needs to be. They need to do this. So we'll see.
I would say it's a bit weak though. I think they need to stand up there and announce something new, and they've already told us about Proving Ground. So unless
I want it to be something like, even if it's Grand Inquisitor in his kit reveal, or maybe they announce the next GL coming. I mean, something along those lines would be really. I think
they've got to make the news. I think it's important for them to make the news and not just be an afterthought after all the great stuff. Oh, and by the way, these guys in that tiny little mobile game did this. Yeah.
I mean, I would talk about Grand Inquisitor. I would talk about Malgus, but then say, and then, news surprise, here comes this. And then you're like, oh, snap. All right.
Knowing CG, they'll probably stand up there and talk about the Lord of the Rings game.
I don't think they'll get away with that at the Star Wars game. Star Wars Celebration. No. Nathan A's question: after finishing GL Ray, would it be a good idea to relic Nest, Fennec, and then Starkiller? I don't plan to get Lord Vader. It depends. Okay, so here's the deal. Relic Nest is good anywhere. She's such a great piece. I like Nest. Fennec, unless you're doing the bounty hunter team and getting that ramped up, then there's no point. I mean, if you're not going to put the other pieces around her and get her mods, there's no point. And then Starkiller, Christ, whenever you get him, of course. And I even like you getting Starkiller before Lord Vader. I don't like the thing that you're saying, I don't plan to get Lord Vader. Nathan H., eventually you're going to need to get Lord Schmader. I hate to tell you this, buddy.
Might be 3 years from now.
Yeah, but it might be 3 years from now, but eventually you do need to work on them. But I'm okay. I don't know about Fennec. I mean, Fennec's the one I don't maybe you guys disagree, but I just think if you're not going to do the whole team and get the pieces in place for her to work the way she does, Nest, I'm cool with.
In my opinion, she's the last piece.
Yeah.
She brings the least amount of, and this is a really weird thing to say because she's great, but she brings the least amount of value as kind of like the standalone bounty hunter. It'd be the same thing with Dark Trooper.
Right.
Like, imagine taking Dark Trooper to R5 if you didn't have Piet unlocked.
Yeah.
Like, it would just be really, really weird.
Yeah, I agree. So, I think we're all in agreement. All right, Nathan H., question for the panel. What PC or console game do you play? I'm not really playing any at the moment. Any of you guys been... I do Blood Bowl once in a while. I'll play a game here and there, but I'm not really committed to anything at the moment. PC or console right now. Anything
What was
you
the
guys...
question?
I'm going
Do you play any
through-
other games?
Yeah, any other PC or console games we're playing right now?
Oh, Tiny Tina's.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
I'm playing the hell out of that game. I love that game.
I know you do, buddy. So there's a lot of the skewers. They love that game. Calvin, Aldous, any other games?
I've been playing Battlefront 2. I've been going through the story mode, trying to learn about a little bit about Iden Versio.
Yeah, that's a sudden shift.
I play loads of games. I am constantly testing games. I play a lot of Fall Guys.
There you go.
But yeah, I'm constantly testing games, Sea of Thieves, and I'll constantly test new games to see if they're streamable or if I like them or how they might work. Yeah, constantly. So.
All right, Nathan H. question. Sometimes I use Newt Lead, Boba, Droideka, Dome, etc. squad. I'm better off not using squad and distributing the characters. I often use BB-8 with GG. For threes, Newt Lead with the best new team I found is Newt with B1 and Magna. That's a fantastic 3v3 team. Droideka usually can go on like a Dooku Jango team if you want to put it there. BB-8, I always keep a JTR. In threes, BB-8 with GG. I mean, it's not really doing much.
It's not enough.
No, it's just gonna.
You're getting, what is that? 24% speed, and that on a Grievous, that's not that much.
No,
he might not even get over 300. You might not even get over 300.
No, especially because a lot of us were health modded for Grievous, which you should be. But I mean, even with the best mods, it's going to be hard. Yeah, I just don't see the value. I think. Those are some of the teams that just, even at lower gear, Newt, B1, Magna Guard is really, really good. I think Droideka with Dooku and Jango is a really good team. Boba Fett, I use with Han and Chewie. I think the Boba Fett lead Han Chewie for offense is absolutely dynamite. It can pretty much kick the shit out of most things. We've used it on multiple teams, and it's nasty. It actually took out a Starkiller one time because I'm like, let's try this, and then shot the shit out of Mara, and by the time all that damage was done, she was dead. So, you're going to say something there, Gom?
I will, for what it's worth category, I've seen a lot of people beating a fully decked out Qui-Gon Jinn team with Newt, B1, Django.
Yeah, that's
Like,
a good.
you kill Qui-Gon, and then Anakin goes off, but you got damage immunity on Django, and then you got a revive essentially with Newt, and it's only take off one stack of B1. I haven't tried it myself, but I've seen several people pull it off, so that might be a good trick to have in the playbook.
Nathan H question: who will you use First Order TP Omni, and who with SLKR? I think we talked about this earlier. I'll reiterate what we said earlier. SLKR, you can still go in 3s or 5s with your DACA zombie combination for GLs or other things. But I think if you go Hawks with TIE Pilot, along with like Crew, Red Lobster, you can even go Panda, or you can go First Order Stormtrooper with that team. I mean, there's different combinations, but that combination of those characters would work really, really well. In 3s, I mean, you could go like Hux, Crew, First Order TIE Fighter Pilot. That's a pretty dope ass team. I mean, hell, just Hux. I'm running Hux, First Order Stormtrooper, and Red Lobster Trooper, and that team gets me holds all the time. That team messes with people so bad. I don't think SLKR, you can run other people with him. Hell, you do a lot of solo shit with SLKR in 3s, and if you need to, DACA Zombie. And in 5, you can still do DACA Zombie WAD if you're doing against Lord Vader. But, I mean, is there any other combinations you guys are thinking about with TIE Fighter Pilot?
So if you're really strapped for teams, like let's say your First Order is your only Galactic, or SKR is your only Galactic Legend, and you want to make like 4 or 5 teams with First Order, one really cool team is Phasma, Xylo, and First Order TIE Pilots.
That's a good
because one. Phasma will make everyone start with 100 speed or whatever. They can't be crit, and your Xylo's going to go first. He's going to keep giving everyone turn meter. You're going to keep assisting. It's not the greatest team. Like, I'm pretty sure Malik will solo it. But if you're trying to look to make more higher gear teams, that lets you make a crew team, a Hux team, a good Phasma team, and an SLKR team.
Okay. Let's see here. Next question. The Timberstone. I think that'll be our last question. It is our last question. He says, "Hey Calvin, awesome. When are you getting a cameraman?"
When I don't so this is just a part of my Saturday routine now, is I just pace back and forth in my apartment while because I have a camera. I'm looking right at it.
Yeah.
It's just a part of my Saturday morning routine. I pace back and forth Jedi Academy while sipping my coffee.
Yeah, see, Gom's the opposite. He immediately turns on his camera, and then we all feel like eating chicken because he's butt naked.
I didn't feel like you guys wanted to see me feast on my breakfast, so I put the camera on.
Yeah, but when he's unclothed, Gom doesn't care. He's coming on stream. You know, you're gonna get the full Monty with Gom. That's why we love him. All right, that's it for Jedi Academy. We're gonna allow these awesome content creators to pimp their stuff, and you should definitely check out their stuff. And do me a favor, guys. You know, you hear me always say, you know, hit the thumbs up and subscribe. That's fine for this channel. Great. But show some appreciation for these content creators. They come here on a Saturday morning or Saturday evening, in Aldous' case, to hang out here for a couple of hours on their own time and their own dime and help you answer your questions about Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. So if you'd really like to show them some love, go visit their channel, watch their videos, watch their content when they're live streaming, hit the thumbs up, subscribe. That does make a difference. Every little bit does make a difference for a content creator. And with that, we're going to allow them to pimp their stuff. And please, I encourage you guys to show them some love and say thank you for being on the Jedi Academy and helping us. That is a great way to do it. So with that, we'll start from the top and work our way down. Aldous Sandfly, the best sandfly on the beach. Where can folks be checking you out at?
Please check me out today on YouTube. Go to my YouTube channel, where if you like to laugh about SWGOH, I'm now doing a weekly light-hearted look at SWGOH. And the title, What is SWGOing On? You've got to watch it. Check it out. Check out my channel on Welcome to Sandflies on YouTube, and I do stream on Twitch. But go check out the YouTube. YouTube today. Brilliant. You'll love it. Hilariously funny.
Okay. Gom.
Hello.
Hi, buddy.
Operation Metaverse on Twitch. I'm streaming. I got to go a little early today because I have 8-year-old's birthday party to go to, so I have to go a little early. Probably get all kicked off about 2:00 over there streaming. Got a shot at this one. Doesn't look like my opponent can clear, so we gotta at least match him. Right? We might not clear either, but we'll have to see. The battle of efficiency without clearing. This is the Operation Metaverse standard, I guess. But do have a YouTube channel. We do Monday nights over on Twitch. I do like this Gom Learns GAC segment, this little slideshow, and I'm not the best to put them on YouTube, but they get up there eventually. So do check those out over on YouTube, Operation Metaverse. And yeah, thank you guys for coming today, and have a good Saturday.
That's right. And then rounding it all up, Calvin Awesome.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitch, Calvin_Awesome. I do all my GHCs there on Sunday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then I'll be on today at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. YouTube channel is up and running. Do have quite a bit of content going there. I've done a few videos on First Order TIE Pilot, both just the initial reaction, how to use them in 3v3. And then we do have the Mad Awesome podcast, which I do with Tilo Mad, and you can find that on Spotify or iTunes.
There you go. So again, go check out these great content creators. And with that, we're going to call this one done. So make sure you hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you like the content. As you get on out here, at least hit the thumbs up. It'd be very much appreciated. And with that, we're going to call this one done. So on behalf of myself and the rest of the panel, have a great rest of your day. We love you guys. Now, I will be on tonight, I think, recording with Trevor Biogaming on his podcast that they do. I don't know if he streams it or if we're just going to do the podcast, but I'll be doing that tonight with him later tonight. So we'll you can see some more Ranger action. But Ranger ain't doing anything else. As I said, I got my ass handed to me the last few days being outside in that sun, getting my ass kicked. So I'm on easy street. So you can message me in Discord. Discord and everything's linked down below. But as I say, I may not respond right away, but I will respond. So he streams it. Okay, cool. Thank you, Ray Rock. Too many content creators. I can't keep track of it these days that I'm always jumping around doing stuff with. So everyone have a great rest of your day with that. Be safe, and we'll holler at you later. Peace out.